and share my screen because I have a presentation about the land network and how to become a land center on there. And I hope you can all see it and enjoy it. Just in a moment. So, technical stuff, and I am doing this, yes, and share the whole thing, please. Okay, so I cannot see your comments right now as I'm on full screen here. I hope Dominic or Lumia will enlighten me if there is something that I need to know. LAND. So LAND stands for Learning Activity Network and Demonstration, and it's a project for permaculture. And this is what you see here is the Danish land logo, which we totally stole from the English project of the same name. We changed it slightly. We put in activity for the A, and we put in our own logo, the Danish Permaculture Association logo. But it's a brand, so we wanted to keep it basically the same. Who am I? So my name is Catherine Dolleries. I studied geography, natural resource management. I've been working for governmental and non-governmental organizations, and mainly in third world countries. And I have my own land center here in Denmark on a small island called Orø, about an hour's drive from Copenhagen. And I am the owner of Geoliv, which is a small company, just employing myself to be a teacher and all the support, all the activities at my land center. I'm also a board member and the international coordinator for education and land at Permaculture Denmark. So why do we want to have this land network or land centers? Well, it is to demonstrate permaculture in practice and to help people appreciate permaculture more and understand what it's all about. So people generally learn or accept new learning more when they actually see it in practice, talk to real people, and share this experience. So we want to make people come and actually be part of a land center that could be for a tour or course or something. And also the land network is there to support the land centers, to have like a website, the Permaculture Association generally, to encourage people to actually make a living from permaculture, to spread information and to organize maybe gatherings and sharing, that kind of thing. And basically we want to show a wider crowd of people that permaculture works. So what is a land center? A land center can be many things, has many sizes and functions. It could be just a private house and garden, it could be an allotment, it could be small. It could also be bigger, like a farm. And it could be a community garden or a different type of community project somehow. So it's there is a set of criteria that you need to adhere to or live up to when you want to become a land center, when you are a land center. And it's about the permaculture ethics. It's about having a permaculture design for your land center and implementing that, and to work within the different domains of home grain, or another way to look at this. But home grain is permaculture flour. It's quite useful for for this. So I'm gonna go into more depth with this, but just to start off, there are certain criteria around becoming a land center. Um, so as LAN stands for Learning Activity Network and Demonstration, learning that could be informal or more formal learning. So it could be having interns or volunteers that are kind of working with you in the garden or in another way. Um, it could also be more like courses, workshops, doing demonstrations, that kind of thing. So it's it's quite unlimited what kind of thing you can do to disseminate permaculture knowledge and activities. It could be something linked to your livelihood. So it could be like a plant nursery. It could be having a market garden. It could be any number of things that support your livelihood, or just having activities there. Could also just be around self-sufficiency. So networking is really important. So there is a network of land centers, but networking in your community, for example, is also an important part of being a land center. So this could be again hosting courses, workshops, presentations, that kind of thing, or it could simply be to invite people, friends over, and serve them forest garden salads or something like this that kind of intrigues people a bit and makes them want to know more about what is this permaculture thing, what are you doing here. So that's also demonstration part. So it could be like signage in your garden, like okay, we have this kind of mulch bed. It's because of this and this. We have a forest garden, 7 or 9 layers of growing and different niches. We have biodiversity. We have maybe also infrastructure to support the cycling of nutrients, for example, here. A compost toilet. So why do we do this? So that's part of the demonstration. So what's going on? Well, basically, we're focusing on earth care, people care, and fair share, the ethics of permaculture. So partly to regenerate the soil and biodiversity. So this is one of the core things of permaculture. And if you know a bit about permaculture, you're probably actually already practicing some of the techniques like no dig or composting or creating brushwood fences to increase biodiversity and keep organic materials on your land, etc., etc. We also want to encourage people care, so it's about social networks and local communities and sharing knowledge, etc. The fair share principle and also skills. And you can see this can be between generations. So the photo to the right is actually from my house. I was redoing my wall, and my father's quite skilled at this kind of woodworking. So he was sharing his knowledge with me and volunteers and a younger generation. So I think this is a very important part of permaculture to learn from past experiences and other generations. So the land criteria. So what does it take to become a land center? You have to have a permaculture design certificate. This is the 12, 14 days of permaculture learning, and you have to be a member of the association in the country where you live. So at the moment, there are land centers in the UK, in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And yeah, so you have to be a member, and you should host 12 or more events per year. So these could be tours, it could be courses, but it could also be just having people there, volunteers there. So we're not very precise about 12 events, but it should be like an open place where people can come and they can learn. And we want to balance it so that you're not overwhelmed by the number of people that are coming to see your forest garden or whatever. But it should be enough so that it's an active, living, open place. Yeah. So you need to have a design. There needs to be a permaculture, a good permaculture design for your place that involves both um, the physical, like the garden, house, and also the social side of things and the fair share. So without a permaculture design, it's not really permaculture. So we want this for all the land centers, and it should be quite visible and why not beautiful to look at. And then we emphasize that the ethics and the principles are implemented in real life. Also, now working with the domains of Holmgren's permaculture flower, it's quite nice that all the domains are represented. So it could be like for land stewardship, that you have Nordic gardening or a market garden, even forest garden. There is focus on biodiversity, etc. Within the building domain, that you use organic, ecological materials. You have some kind of nutrient cycling going on. Could be compost soil, wastewater, etc. Within tools and technology, that there is fossil fuel saving. For example, you could be off grid or doing biogas, or you also focus on not using too much energy, like preferring maybe hand tools for your market gardening instead of using a tractor or whatever. All right, so there is some education going on, courses, workshops, informal learning we talked about. Could be should be some kind of health aspect as well. So connecting to the land, living healthy lifestyle, having medicinal plants, that could be part of that. And the economy. So many places are mortgage free. That's nice if you able to have achieved that. But it could also be like working with the 8 capitals. I'm referring to what's his name, George Landau and Ethan Roland, who works with the 8 capitals. That could be social capital, financial, ecological, cultural, spiritual capital, etc. And so you don't just focus your livelihood on money, but you also increase wealth in all these other ways. Often there is a local focus to your economy, and many have some kind of crafts or like plant nursery or something that they make a living from, where they can work with permaculture in a way to make a livelihood. In terms of governance, sociocracy is very popular amongst, say, it could be in an eco community, or you could work with your local community in a sociocratic way, so that people are heard and you have a co-creation of your community projects, or you could be working with schools, etc. All right. The path to become a land center. So you want to become a land center? Then I'd suggest that you first look for information on the website of your local permaculture association, and look at the application. What does it entail? What are the criteria? And you can have a look at the criteria to see, does my place fulfill all the criteria? If not, then you can work to fulfill the criteria doing the Permaculture Design Certificate, PDC, become a member of the association. How do you work with the ethics principles and domains within permaculture, and how can you implement it? How can you demonstrate the way you're working with permaculture? Do you have a design? Do you work with regenerative solutions? Do you have learning and activities for learning and demonstration? Do you work in a network? So basically, all the things I've just went through. So if you do fulfill these criteria and work in these different areas, you can fill in the application, send it to your land center, or sorry, your land coordinator. It usually says on the website who's the coordinator in your country, and send also the design for your land center, and then your coordinator will possibly send you some questions, and then organize a visit to your place. Um, Often there are some advisors, land advisors, coming also to see your place. So they will have a look first. If you still need something in the application, your coordinator will tell you this. And if you need, after you've they made a visit to your place, they will also tell you if you're ready to accredit. So if you're not quite ready to accredit, then you could be a land sprout or a land learner. So the land sprout, you're just starting on your permaculture journey, so still some way to go. Land learner, you are a bit further, but there's still a few details that are missing. So work on this to get ready. Send the evidence to your land coordinator. Could be photos or maybe organizing a new meeting. And then you get some response from your land coordinator, more to be done, or are you now ready to accredit as a land center? And then you will get like a land sign to put up in your window or outside somewhere. If you have a website, then put in a link to the association, or write that you're a land center and means this and that. And then there will be a description of your place also on the association website, and you should write this and keep it updated always. So now you are ready to become a land center, and you can organize an accreditation event. It's a celebration. It could be on an open garden day. It could be part of a festival, some other gathering, and this could be should be a happy celebrating event. Then you need to stay active as a land center. So it's about these 12 or 15 events per year. And now in these times of COVID, it could also, I guess, be online videos or reports from your land center, what's going on. You should also attend the annual land gathering. It's organized by your association. You can reach out to other land centers to strengthen the land network. You can organize events together. We have had success here in Denmark with a bus tour to the different land centers. That's a very enjoyable way, and with I hope soon we can get to do that kind of thing again. Also, you have to have like for your open garden days and skill sharing, etc. You have to have good distance and take all the precautions, etc. for COVID. So, but you can also share like educational materials and that kind of thing. And you need to send information to your land coordinator That could be about how many visitors are coming, what activities are you doing, and then some news about your land center. This is very nice, I think, to put up on your website occasionally. What's going on, what's happening, how's the new biogas system working, or what about that event, or the apple cider day, whatever. What's going on? Okay, still active or maybe not so much, then please report to your land coordinator. So there are some roles and responsibilities. So this is kind of a list of the terminology we use in land. So land sprout is interested in becoming a land center, but may not have the permaculture design certificate yet, or it's just new and not really there yet. So the land learner is further. The application has been accepted. Actually, you send in an application, and you're in the process of fulfilling requirements. And the land center is a place that fulfills all the criteria, and you have been accredited. You've had the event of accreditation and celebration. There could be a land working group. So this could help the land coordinator to get feedback from land centers and maybe do some fundraising and look for opportunities for the land center and the land network to thrive and develop. There could also be attached land mentors, and that's a person usually with it's a diploma tutor or some other very knowledgeable permaculture person that could help land centers to become land centers. Yeah. The land coordinator is the person, the spider in the web, who coordinates communication and advises, and also coordinates visits and assessments. It checks that applications have all the elements, that is design, answering how you implement the ethics and the principles and so on. Also, the person who appoints advisors for assessment visits and maybe carries them out as well, depending on if you are very close to a potential land center as a coordinator, then you probably go. And if it's the other end of the country, you probably send a land advisor that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So it's also the land coordinator also receives and redistributes assessments and recommendations to the land advisors. So just to get a second opinion or a nod and information that actually this center is about to become a center, and that's great. So it checks also when the land learner is ready for accreditation. The land advisor supports the coordinator and can propose new land centers, and is a person with brilliant permaculture knowledge, and so can also go and be maybe a mentor for the potential land center. All right. The land network, you can kind of look at it at a local scale. So you are engaging with your local community to let them know more about permaculture and demonstrate it in practice. It could be on the national level, which is what we're talking about here mostly with the land coordinator and advisors, etc. And then international. And we have the I-Act project that's coming up, iLand, which is kind of the international land network. So this is starting to include not only land centers or demonstration sites in Europe, but also in other parts of the world, Australia, US, Africa, Asia, South America, etc. So this is quite interesting to follow. In Denmark, we have this land map inspired by UK, and I think all the land associations or permaculture associations have them. And we have, um, you can see the distribution of the land centers, which are the green dots. And I think now we have around 12 land centers and starters in Denmark. We've kind of come full cycle because some land centers have were accredited in the beginning and they have actually dropped out again. Some of them because they were kind of overwhelmed by their own success, which is really nice, which means there were just too many people coming, and they felt like they were just overwhelmed by the amount of people and having to have the garden open and ready at all times and able to answer questions and so on. And that's cool. But I would recommend, if this happens to you, that you limit the days where people can actually come and see your land center to maybe once a week or once a month even, or something like this. So you kind of doing people care for yourself and not engaging in more than you can handle. There are about 8 centers, land centers in Norway and 6 in Sweden, and I believe about 2 in Finland. I was part of assessing the first one, Koroinen, in Turku, and this was a great experience, and I think we all learned a lot. And in those workshops, we had a project about the land centers back in 2017, and I think there's about 80 places in the UK. If you want to check out some of the links, so the UK Land Network, there's a Czech network. They don't call it land, but they are demonstration sites for permaculture, and they kind of use more or less the same criteria. And then here are some links for Sweden, Norway, and Finland. So thank you for listening. I'm gonna try and stop the screen share now and return back to you and see if there are questions for me. Okay, so I am back. Hello.
Okay, thank you very much for this presentation. Lovely.
Yeah.
There are actually no questions in the chat. So probably I can ask you some questions.
Yeah, I know I was speed talking a bit, so I didn't know how much time I had. So probably we can go in depth with a couple of topics. Yeah. So thank you.
So when you accredit a land center, it needs to be reaccredited or reassured, like every year, every second year, or something like that?
Yeah, we say every second year in Denmark, and we kind of like people to show up at the land gatherings to because we want them to be there so they can be an active part of the network and sharing, etc. And if they show up and they are active this way, we don't have to go and reassess their place, because then they will usually share what's going on at their place. But yeah, I think it's great to do these reassessment like every second year or so. Yeah.
Okay.
And also to check. Well, it sounds a little harsh, but it could be that the quality could need a little lift, and if you have like a tutor or a mentor, could maybe point out a few things that could help you improve your place. Why not?
Sounds good. When you're going there for the reassessment, do you have to jump through all the points again, or is it just what has happened since the last assessment?
Yeah, just what has happened since the last assessment. So it is quite fast to get a feel for the place and see if it's still active, if people are coming, if the land center owner is still happy about doing it, and if it's it doesn't have to be a big deal. really. So.
Okay. In Finland, we have one land center and one land learner.
Okay.
Do you have any advice for us how we can get more, a lot more?
I think you need to start talking about it, and I think the question, why do you want to become a land center, is very important. So I didn't talk too much about that, but I think in Denmark it was there was a great need for permaculture people to be acknowledged, to be seen for their contribution to, say, or the climate change perspective. We're doing so much good stuff for that the world really needs at the moment, and I think it's very good to encourage people and acknowledge people, and the land network is a way to do this. And so you become more visible, and permaculture becomes more visible. So this is, I think, a way to do it. So why? So exactly, to be acknowledged for your contribution to making the world a greater place.
Sounds good. Shouldn't then the stakes actually be not so high? Like, if you want a lot of places that show how cool permaculture can contribute to that, should the entry level be low? Or is it actually? Is it low?
Well, I think that depends on who is assessing the place. In a way, I think in Denmark we started a bit lower and then raised the bar a little bit over the years. We started in 2014, and I think it's you can aspire to becoming a better land center, and I think you inspire people as well to become a really nice place if you can show good quality and have a lot of the, well, yeah, you have. I don't think the bar is really low. I think working, if you feel permaculture, if you work with the ethics and understand permaculture, there you don't want to do it any other way, really. So, but I mean, not everybody has like a compost toilet, and I don't think you necessarily need to, for example, have a compost toilet or herb spiral to be a real permaculture person. It's more like it's in your heart, and you can feel that when you talk to people, if they are coming from that kind of motivation.
Okay. Second about. No, I don't think I have any further questions so far at the moment.
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of interesting to just talk to your screen and not actually see how many people are out there.
23.
23 people. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know. I think there are some of you who knows me already. And I've I've been to Finland a couple of times, and I'd really like to go again sooner or later. See when it's possible. So I hope you're all doing all right.
Wie man inspireren kan Leute sprouts te werden.
Lumia gave me a good question. How can we inspire people to become sprouts? So to make the first step, do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about permaculture and it starts to make sense to people, I think you can inspire them to want to do something like that. And I think in this age is helping us because there's a lot of focus on climate change and like empowering yourself and doing self-sufficiency and encouraging local economies and like quality food produce, not to not import apples from New Zealand or whatever, but to grow your own. Like there's a lot. I think there's a lot of focus on this. So in that way, I think it's not hard to get people interested and excited about the idea of doing permaculture, which is recognized and it's something. You become an ambassador for permaculture. How to get there? Well, doing more courses, being more open, doing open garden days for your local community, introduction courses, talks, all of this. I think it helps. And just being maybe an authentic person when you talk about permaculture and what is how that is for you. Yeah.
Yeah. We have more questions in the chat, actually. So that is Sanna, and she asks, what I get from land coordinator, does a coordinator help me to start this land project?
No, I don't think so. I think you can start it by yourself, the land project, by starting to do your permaculture design certificate course and start to work on a design for your land. So how to close the nutrient cycles, how to work with the soil, maybe animals. What about your buildings, water, all these the different elements of permaculture, and how do you work in your local community, etc. Do you want to become self-sufficient or not? Or so just start working with it and living permaculture, and then eventually you will feel like, okay, I'm starting to get ready to become a land center, and then you can approach your coordinator and look at the application and all this. So this can happen quickly or it can take longer time. It's up to you.
Yeah, so it's to everyone's self to start the journey, and then the land coordinator at one point checks and gives advice.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, next question is from Erkki, and Erkki asks, isn't it a challenge that many sites don't yet have a permaculture design in place?
Yeah, and this was one of the things that in Denmark we took it a little lightly in the beginning, and then kind of raised the bar a bit later on. And I think actually people appreciate really working with the design. It seems a little bit hard at the beginning maybe, but there is so much knowledge and there's so many gains and so much to harvest from doing a good permaculture design for your land that you want to do it anyway. Basically, if you want to become more or less self-sufficient or make a livelihood somehow based on permaculture, you want to do a design, and that could be livelihood design, it could be design for the land itself, for your buildings and how you use water and etc. So it's not maybe only one design, it could be a whole portfolio of designs. Yeah,
could be a whole diploma.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Or two. Yeah.
Yeah. Today is April Fool's Day, and on the Facebook diploma apprentice group, there was a post that the UK Permaculture Association raised the amount of designs needed to 30.
Right. Well, yeah, I think people struggle with 10 designs already. So, but I think it's also true that it becomes easier and easier. I hope my apprentices will prove me right on this. It's the first ones are more difficult, and the last ones become much more fluent.
Yeah, it's like going down. It's like going downhill, kind of.
Yay, that's good.
Erki has another question.
Yes.
So about the same topic. So did the first ones have to do a proper design in order to remain land centers?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, we reassessed after those around 2 years and asked them to do a proper design that could be shared. Yeah. So we did it that way. Yeah.
Okay. I have a statistical question. So with the
Yeah.
10 land centers that you have in Denmark,
Mhm.
what's the, is there a common pattern that they fail in the same thing when they first apply, or do they straight jump to a learner, to the land center, sorry?
I think it's about half. Some have been working with permaculture for a long time, and maybe since the 90s or so. We have several centers that have done that, and they jump pretty much straight into becoming a land center. Then you have places that are, or people that have come to permaculture more recently, and they are usually land learners for a couple of years before they kind of feel that it's time to accredit to a land center. So we kind of have, half and half, I think.
Okay, nice. You once mentioned that there were land centers that were so overrun or overwhelmed by the success.
Yes.
So is it for all the land centers that once they become a land center, that it also is some kind of, they create a livelihood with that? So it's money-wise something of interest for them to do, to become?
Yeah, I think the most successful ones in the long term, their livelihood depends on maybe not being a land center, but the activities that are part of the land center, like nursery, doing courses, workshops, permaculture design courses, that kind of thing. They are more likely to continue and be successful in the long run, because they have, it kind of helps them in a different way to be a land center. This recognition is quite important for them. And also, if you want to work with volunteers and interns, being a recognized permaculture place is also important for the people who are coming and who are looking for that permaculture experience.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about the land network and what are the activities? It's a question from Erki.
Yeah, so we have a land gathering, and that's one time per year, and that is usually combined with accreditation of a land center. So if there is a potential land center and they see it as an opportunity to be accredited and have the celebration, so they will organize the land gathering that year. So that's quite a good way to get your accreditation, I think, and also to see new places, and the network of the permaculture or the land network is really important. So we try to support each other as much as we can. It's not always easy, and I do recognize that people are working very, especially the ones that are very dependent on the permaculture livelihood for market gardens or nurseries and that kind of thing. They work a lot, and they're kind of a little bit in their own bubble, especially in the spring when everything is happening. But we also have, like, for example, if you're also a teacher, which most of the land centers have a permaculture teacher to do permaculture introductions or PDCs, then we strengthen each other by working together. So not everybody can know everything about permaculture, I think, or have specialisms. So we work together, and we're doing courses that are I do what's about 2 weeks, and so 1 week is with me here on my small island, Orøy, and the other half of the course is at a different land center. So that's one way of strengthening the network. So we also try to do some skill sharing. We had some workshops around how to handle volunteers. There was one, and what about social how to work with social permaculture and sociocracy. So we had different kind of workshops together just for the land centers that could help them to increase their skills. And I think just visiting each other in our different places and doing a tour, it's very valuable, and you get a feel for each other's places and challenges and solutions.
Okay. Maria sends greetings.
Thank you.
I was wondering how does the Danish Permaculture Association help the land centers money-wise? Is there any funding that they get?
Yes, there is. And this is actually via the Erasmus Plus project. So it's organized this way that Permaculture Denmark is kind of a school, because the Erasmus Plus project is about further education for teachers and supporting development of learning, that kind of thing. So we say Permaculture Denmark is a school. The land centers are the classrooms, or the distributed campus, if you like. And each of the land centers have land teachers or educators. And this way we can support the permaculture educators to have further learning. So this could be sending them to maybe England or France or Finland for some kind of knowledge. So this could be, well, I don't know, market gardening, or how to do forest gardening, or how to whatever within permaculture. It could also be more on the educational side, so how to teach, so teacher trainings for permaculture, or even educational, like conflict management in the classroom or something like that. That could also be covered by Erasmus Plus, if you like. So these mobilities have been really good, and because we are a little bit cheap, we don't travel first class and require luxury accommodation. We like to live in tents and eat weeds. Then, sorry, but then we're fairly cheap, and that means there's a surplus of money from that project, and we can actually send quite a few people for further education, and also we can actually support a little bit different activities at the land centers and development of, say, learning materials, educational materials, that kind of thing. So there is a little support.
Yeah, sounds good. It's like interconnected. So you make your learn center, and then it comes full round back to you by then getting the chance to learn something new somewhere else. So,
that's true.
So I find the concept very interesting. It's stacking of functions, kind of.
Yeah.
There are greetings from Selma from Terkele.
Thank you. Hi, Selma.
And also greetings from Terhi. Arel.
Yay! Nice. Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. There are no further questions in the chat so far. if you don't have to add anything, I would say thank you for the presentation and thank you for answering the questions today and being part of the PermaPuheet.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to talk about something which is close to my heart, and I should say maybe that my role as land coordinator for Denmark has passed to another permaculture person called Rikke, and I am more on the international coordination side now. So it's kind of nice to have delegated this responsibility a bit, and I think it's a sign of development in the network that we are that it needs two different roles now. So a national coordinator and an international coordinator. Yeah, so there is definitely scope for. I can only encourage you to become land sprouts or eventually land centers, because I think the whole permaculture thing is so important, and especially in these times. And we have so many good solutions, regenerative solutions, both on the physical but also on the social side of things. So I think the more we can spread this knowledge and make it a choice to follow the ethics, and I think the world is a better place for it. So please join us.
We will, definitely.
Yeah. All right, but thank you very much.
Okay. So normally the PermaPuheet should end after the 6th lecture, but there will be another 6 lectures. So next week, joining us from New York, Sandor Eliskatz, and he sends greetings, and he likes you to prepare questions about fermentation. You can ask him anything about fermentation and he will answer. So this is your one and only chance to really go to the bottom of fermentation. And then, of course, there is Erkki with beekeeping. He has even 2 lectures. And then there will be a lecture about chicken keeping. And then we have one about seed savings. And then hopefully, keep fingers crossed, not decided yet, market gardening. And then I will talk about permaculture design.
Right.
So, yes, but for now, thanks everyone for waiting half an hour. Sorry for the technical issues. The Finns say it doesn't always go like in Strömsö, so the Finns know what that means. To not keep you in the dark, this is kind of a series on TV where everything is going always right. So, yeah, so thanks for patience and a lot of greetings here. So from Erkki, thanks for inspiration. And from Terry Ariel, very good to see you again. Kat, thanks for a lot of the presentation. Have a good Easter. And then from Mike, thank you. And from Misa, thank you. So yes, thank you from me too. And thank you from the Finnish Permaculture Association.
Thank you all for bearing with us, with me, and for listening.
Okay, then next week, but next week at 19 o'clock because of the time difference and some, yeah. Okay, any last words?
Yeah, well, yeah, just stay with the ethics and keep motivated for doing permaculture. I think that's important.
Okay, thank you, Katrina.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I ended the stream.
Okay.